Okay, so this video is on the present perfect continuous, so verbs with ing, basically. So the construction is a little bit more complicated than the simple, but it's has or have been, again, depending on the person, and verb plus ing, which is all continuous. So the uses, there are fewer uses, you will be pleased to know, but they are to emphasise the length of time an event or situation that began in the past has been happening or is still happening. So, he has been waiting for more than an hour. He started waiting an hour or more ago. This still has an effect in the present, and this is one of the ways to take the past into the present. So the waiting is still continuing. Okay, for incompleted actions, I have been reading that book for months, in brackets, so I am still reading this book. This is what you take this to mean. I started it a while ago and I still have not finished. So this is an incomplete action. Probably finish it at some point in the future, but right now it's incomplete. Okay, to describe repeated actions. He's been writing his book for years. He has continually been writing. So it's not just one period of time that he's written. He didn't just start writing a year ago for one day and stopped. No, he has been writing over a period of time, continuously returning to the action of writing. So this is a repeated action up to the present. Okay? Cause of a present effect, but we're not interested in knowing if the action is finished. Sounds a bit complex, but it's not as bad as it sounds. So the example I've got here is her teachers are angry. That's the present effect. Use the present simple, the present effect. That's how they are responding now. Because, this is giving detail, she hasn't been doing her work properly. So she hasn't been doing, this is the cause. We use the present perfect continuous because this is a continuous repeated action that has led to the present effect of her teachers being angry. So, if you can remember this sort of construction, present effect, present simple, the cause of that effect leading up to the present is when we use the present perfect continuous. Okay? And to emphasise a temporary state, he's been staying with his sister whilst they finish building his new house. So he's not going to be staying with his sister forever. It's just a temporary state in which this person is in whilst something else is happening, and then eventually that temporary state of him staying with his sister will be over. Okay. Another one is recently completed actions, often with a present result. So, for example, he's been painting his room. Well, that's why he's still covered in paint. So this is a recently completed action, painting his room. The present result is that he's covered in paint. So that's another use for this lovely form of English grammar. But that's kind of it. So these are some useful examples. Here we've got a comparison of when to use the present simple or when to use the present perfect continuous. Present perfect simple. I think it's simple. Right, so using the verbs live and work. If we use the present perfect simple, it's a more permanent situation. So he's lived there since he got married. This is a permanent thing. He has lived there continuously since he got married. It's permanent. That's where he's living. Whereas if you use the present perfect continuous, it's a bit more temporary. So for example, his office is in London, but he's been working in Leeds since November. So this is a very temporary thing. It's not going to be forever. He has been living in Leeds, but it's not going to continue for a long period of time. Okay, attention focused on the finished action. For example, I've loaded the software. That is a completed action. I have loaded the software. Done. Or I have painted the Mona Lisa. I don't know. I'm arty. We're going to go with an art one. Whereas if you use the present perfect continuous, the action is focused on the action in progress. So instead of I've loaded the software, you would say I've been loading the software for hours. So you've got a time expression there. You explain how long you've been doing something, and it gives the effect of it being this continuous process. Equally, I've been painting the Mona Lisa for years. Okay? And the final little comparison here, we used to say how often, how much, or how many if we're using present perfect simple. So she's written 100 pages so far, or he has phoned me 20 times. So how often, how much, or how many? In contrast, we use the present perfect continuous to say how long, but not with say verbs, so things like love, hate, want, here, etc., etc. So he's been staying here for 3 weeks. This is how long? He's been staying for 3 weeks, that is how long. So we use the continuous because it is this continuous thing that he's started in the past up to now. And the last little bit, time expressions, which tends to use the time expressions. So we use for a period of time. This changes with the tense. So if we've got the present perfect, you can say he's been staying for 6 days. Whereas if you use the past simple, he stayed for 6 days. So she was here for 6 days, she's no longer here. She's been staying here for 6 days. She arrived 6 days ago. So you've got a difference in how long and whether she is still there. So she's been staying here for 6 days, arrived 6 days ago. Past simple, she was here for 6 days. She's no longer here. So the difference in whether it's completed or not. Since, this is the beginning of a time period, use the present perfect. So she's been here since Wednesday, meaning she arrived last Wednesday and she's still here. So if you use since, use the present perfect. Okay? If we have already, we've got an indefinite time. So we use the present perfect. She's already eaten. We don't know when, but we know she has already done the action of eating something. So this is when we use already with the present perfect. And things like ago, last week, in 1995, on Saturday, i.e. definite times, we use the past simple. So, for example, they left Berlin 3 hours ago. They left. Past simple. 3 hours ago is our time expression of definite time. Hopefully that helps and made sense. If not, again, let us know. Okay.